Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Dave, and this is Fragments.
So if you've been following along in the No BS Grammar series, you've learned how to work with basic sentences. Now we're going to work with more complex ones.
But if you're just joining us, if you didn't work your way through the last 2 units, then you're doing it wrong. Go back and start at the beginning, or else you're just wasting your time.
When we really look at a sentence out in the world, we can now find the subject-predicate structure pretty easily. But we also start to notice new structures. Check this out.
Look at that part at the end. At the ship's bow. What is that thing? It's not the subject, and it's not exactly the predicate. So, what is it?
We're going to call that piece a fragment. Think of fragments as garages. You can live in a house without a garage, but you really shouldn't live in a garage without a house.
Fragments work the same way. You can have a sentence without a fragment, but you can't have a fragment without a sentence.
The neat thing about fragments is that they can move around in the sentence. If you have a fragment at the back of the sentence, you can move it to the front. All you need is a comma. Each time we see a fragment, we're going to give it a double underline.
Notice how there's no comma when the fragment is in the back? In fact, that's a rule. You're not allowed to have a comma if you're attaching a fragment to your predicate at the back of the sentence. But when it's in the front, comma, every time.
Memorize this rule.
We don't have a neat and tidy list of fragment words like we do with the fanboys, but there are 3 general types. First, we've got time and place words.
In the evening's dying light, Herrick pushed the men aside.
During the battle, many men died.
Behind the stables, a child wept.
Each of those words that began the fragment, in, during, and behind, they each have something to do with time or place. The English language has hundreds of them, so be on the lookout.
The second variety of fragment word is what we call spoiler words. Spoiler words are tricky. Basically, they spoil sentences. We can take a sentence, but if we add a spoiler word, such as because, well, then we've ruined it. It's no longer a sentence. Spoiled.
Because Astrid ran what? It's no longer a complete idea. It's become a fragment, something that only makes sense when it's tacked onto a sentence. Like this.
If is also a spoiler word.
So is the word when. Again, there are lots of spoiler words. You can't memorize a list, so you just have to watch for the structure to appear.
There's one last kind of fragment, and it looks like this.
With this type of fragment, a little piece of the predicate's action is able to move out to the front of the sentence.
Once we're familiar with all these types of fragments, we can start using them in concert. Begin with a sentence. Add a fragment to the back. Add another one if you like. Add one to the front. Make sure to include a comma. Maybe another with a comma.
It doesn't matter how many. If you add them to the back, no comma. If you add them to the front, comma, every time.
So that's a brief introduction to fragments. Once again, there are plenty of details we didn't get to in this video. To truly master this third grammatical structure, go to our website, read the unit, do the practice exercises, and study the review video.
When you've mastered using fragments, you'll be ready for the 4th structure, colons.
Until then, I'm John.
And I'm Dave.
And this is No BS Grammar.